Welcome back to The Price of Business. I am your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I tell you, it's your business to be aware of what's going on in your family and your family life. And a lot of a huge issue that's been pervasive, obviously, for generations is drug and alcohol abuse among children. And there's a great organization that I know firsthand from the lives I've seen it touch. This makes a huge difference in families and the teenagers in those families, which is Cornerstone Recovery. And Debbie Ortiz, she comes on. She's a regular here on the program to talk about the great work of Cornerstone. Mm-hmm. And good to see you, Debbie.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for having us again.
You bet. Kind of give us the elevator speech, if you will, about Cornerstone.
Well, Cornerstone is actually, we've been around for 15 years, and we are now revamping, I say, our operations so that we can really focus on what we do best, and that is adventure learning and also our wilderness program and outreach that's, of course, family-based. So we're really excited that we're going to be a little bit more focused on those things that a lot of the other alternative peer group programs that are out there are lacking, and that we have such good results, in showing what we can do. So that's one of the things that we'll be talking about a little bit today.
Awesome. And your guest today?
Today we have Diane and Steve Anderson, who are big supporters of Cornerstone. And I'm anxious to hear from Steve because I primarily work with Diane. She's been very involved with the fundraising the last year. And in fact, they served on our annual giving campaign, and they are going to be chairing this year's campaign. So welcome to both of you. Diane, why don't you tell a little bit about why you and Steve are involved?
Well, we were touched by recovery firsthand with Cornerstone as parents, and we realized how important our lives were saved by Cornerstone. We had a child that was out of control, and we got involved in the program, and oh my gosh, almost just learning a little bit of how to work recovery completely changed our lives. It changed our family. It changed our children. It was a wonderful experience, and I will forever be grateful and definitely always want to give back.
Awesome. Steve, how long ago was that when you guys got involved in Cornerstone?
Oh, that must have been, 8 years ago when we started? Yes.
Very cool.
And we've been involved ever since. We were, I'll say, heavy participants in the program.
Yeah.
It's very focused not only on the children, but also the parental involvement and how you deal with it as a family unit and how you deal with yourself, actually. Mm-hmm. As we progressed through the program, we stayed involved with some alumni groups, still practicing the same principles, and have just continued to support it in that way, as well as giving our time and financial resources.
Debbie?
Steve, I'd like for you to tell a little bit about your job and your role within your company, because I know you have a big job, and yet you find time to help give back to Cornerstone in other ways. Well,
thank you for saying it's a big job. Yeah, so I work with AIG, and I think many people have heard of AIG. We've had some rough moments, and we've come through it quite nicely, I might add. So we're very proud of that. In that regard, I think all large corporations, everyone works very hard, but I think we have some core principles that really support being a good corporate citizen. Mm-hmm. And the primary thing is it's in the culture, but AIG has a matching grant program that's very favorable. So it matches 2-for-1 for what we contribute to qualifying charities. So that really allows us to kind of leverage our financial resources. But in addition to that, we sponsor time off, so individuals can get several days a year to work in the charity of their choice or organization. AIG doesn't really direct where you spend your time, but it encourages you to do that.
Mm-hmm. Very cool, very cool. So when did you all complete the program?
I think we're still in it.
Yeah, I think we're still
okay.
in it.
Well, I mean, I know that there's of course, an awakening, and so when did your family...
I awakened in 2009.
2009. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Debbie?
Okay. I'd like to know a little bit about, Steve, from your perspective, what is reason why people like you, who work in big companies again, and I know you travel a lot internationally, what is in it for them? What would you say to the listeners out there who might be thinking, well, I'm just too busy to get personally involved?
Well, everyone says giving back. But, when you're at the fundraising events, when you hear the stories of the successes of the children, of how families have really been changed, I mean, that's where you really get a personal, deep down gratification. Mm-hmm. That you know that the program is really, really doing good and just giving so many opportunities to kids and families that, frankly, these kids are not on a good path. It isn't like they're a little wild for a while. Death is very much in the picture for many of these children. So, for me, what it really touches me is at a very personal level. And, we invite friends and coworkers to the events, and they feel the same. They feel the same thing, I think, as everyone that's involved with a particular organization does. So this is our special organization in mind.
Yeah, and it's obviously over the years, I don't think there's a single kid who stays in any of the APGs for any lengthy period of time who don't know people that have died because of, drug and alcohol abuse. I mean, it's just incredibly common, and it really is a life or death issue for these kids and their families. And so kind of tell us, Susan, how you went from parents participating to people that are now so heavily involved in the program. What were some of the key moments that led you to your level of activity today?
I think because I have the time, and seeing parents over the years and trying to keep them involved and seeing this grow so that we can reach as many families as possible, because not everybody can afford treatment and feel like they can't afford it. And to me, it's just getting more and more people involved, and especially the parents.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Was there any particular moments, though, that made you decide to go further? I mean, was there things that happened or things that you saw that resonated with you? Or you too, Steve, feel free to jump in on that, because I think those are the things that capture us to go deeper or go further in our commitment. I think it just became obvious to you that it worked.
It did work. It's a little bit like, you had me at hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were so broken and so fragile. And when we, stepped foot in the doors and saw what was going on, and it took our child several months of first there was rebellion and I'm not doing this, but after a while it began to sink in. And when somewhere in there it turned a corner where she saw herself as an adult, responsible, and really needed to change. And at that point I said, this, as Diane said earlier, this changed our life.
Yeah.
And we've just, from there, we've been continually engaged and involved.
Yeah, recovery is so magical in my mind. I had no idea how powerful it is and how much you can help people by sharing recovery. I guess that's the main thing, because it's I see a lot of parents whose kids are struggling now, and they don't know anything about Cornerstone, and they don't know. I just want to grab them and say, "Oh my gosh, there are solutions."
Yeah,
but it is an attraction kind of,
not a promotion. That's true.
Exactly.
Debbie, final thoughts?
Yes, I just want to say that you two have done a wonderful job of drawing people in, and I know that you were at the breakfast, and many, the 300 people that were there were very moved by the stories of the successes and the real live testimonials of people, young people who would be dead, and their parents saying how it was 100% because of Cornerstone that they were able to get through it. So thank you for sharing not only your time and your talents, but also to bring people in, introduce them. Just one last question: is there anything that you learned about recovery since you began this journey that you were surprised that you really had no idea, if you could just kind of boil it down to its essence?
In 30 seconds.
Yep.
In 30 seconds. I learned that the 12-step program is a way to live life, whether you have an addiction or not.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Great thought to end on. All right, cornerstonerecovery.org. Make sure you learn more about them. Great organization. Thanks to both of you for sharing your experience, strength, and hope.
Thank you, Kevin.
Thanks.
When we come back, much more for you right here on The Price of Business.